Good afternoon and welcome to the latest edition of Lunchtime Learnings. I'm delighted that Georgina Patey, who is a partner agent with Avocado Property, is my latest guest. So thank you so much for joining me, especially as it is half term as well. And I know you've got two youngsters who would much rather be with their mum. And you having to speak to me. So thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. And, Ian's been a guest on the podcast previously. And I think what Ian is and has and continues to achieve at Avocado Property is absolutely fantastic. And it's a breath of fresh air in the industry, and it's great to see what you and your colleagues are doing, which is absolutely fantastic. So tell us a little bit about Georgina. How did you become an estate agent? Why did you become an estate agent? And then we'll pick it and apart and ask you questions from there.
Yeah, okay. So I got into the industry while I was still actually at college, and I was studying health and social care. And the reason was because I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be sorry, I think I cut out there.
Okay, so I heard about health and social care in college.
Okay, so health and social care was because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I've always been interested in property, as both my parents have always been in housing. So I think it's almost in the blood, as they say. And so I did a part-time role just starting on a Saturday, was my first role, which then went full-time during the summer holidays while I was on the break with college. And then I fell into lettings, which is what quite a few people do. I originally wanted to do the sales side of things, but then actually I really did enjoy lettings and building up my career on that side of things, where it's so fast paced. And you can build up a relationship with landlords. That's the side of lettings that I really did enjoy. But now doing the sales side of things, I really enjoy that you're actually helping somebody find their dream home. So I like that I've done sort of both aspects of it. So my career was 13 years before I started with Avocado. So now 14 years. I don't want to give away my age too much. Lots of experience under my belt doing both sides as well. So and my favorite thing is, as I say, building up relationships with the clients. And the best bit about the job is nosing around people's houses, I have to say. That's the bit I really do enjoy, and it always gives me inspiration for my own property and also for other properties that I'm trying to sell. So yeah, I really enjoy that aspect.
Yeah, actually, that's what people ask me, do you miss being in agency? Because I haven't been doing it for 10 years. I've been consulting for 10 years. And I say, actually, the one thing I do miss is a relationship with the sellers and the landlords and the tenants and the buyers, and getting to know them and building that client for life. I definitely miss that. And actually, you're right. Going into properties, I found fascinating, and it's really interesting, how people look after, treat their properties as well. So I miss that. But let's talk about building relationships. And I think you're spot on, and getting a client for life. And I think it's really, really important. So, how do you do that? How do you build a relationship? How do you build a rapport with your potential sellers or your potential landlords or your tenants and buyers?
So, in terms of sellers, I think it's really important to just be completely honest and open. Where I've been in employed roles before, you're kind of under the thumb of what your employer wants you to do, and you're restricted in how and be completely open on what I think the price will actually be, what it will sell for, little things that they could perhaps do in the property without needing to offend anybody. Most people want to, realize that the best price that they can for the property, and if there's little niggly things that they can do to achieve that, then I'm there to sort of just say, I think people appreciate that I'm not somebody that just spouts a load of BS, shall we say, and it's not just a sales patter for me. It's about nurturing people through their journey, from the day one all the way through to completion, and they know that they're going to be able to contact me out of hours. It's not just office hours that I'm available, and that really is one of my key selling points, that people decide to go with me, because they know that they'll reach me at 9 o'clock at night, after they've finished work, and when these sort of questions pop up, they can just WhatsApp me and they'll get a response from me straight away. So that's the sort of the main thing. With buyers, they also get the same level of service, because obviously they only deal with me as well. A lot of the work is actually WhatsApp. So I put buyers and sellers that each have their own WhatsApp group. So everybody is able to ask a question and communicate really easily. Also works really well if it's a divorce situation, because if they don't want to talk to each other, it's all there on WhatsApp, and then there's no having to relay information that I've spoken to somebody over the phone about. So that really works. And yeah, it is a journey. I like to get my sellers a bouquet of flowers on as a thank you for instructing me, and putting your trust in me. And that's something that I do with pretty much every property, unless there's a reason, if they weren't local or something and it wasn't feasible. But it's basically every property, and it is a thank you for instructing me. And that's coming out of my own pocket. It's not there's no upfront charges or anything. So it is a thank you. And then on completion day, buyers and sellers also get nice little gifts that are from local businesses that then want to support me because I'm supporting them back. So it's about sort of being there in the community as well, and supporting everybody along the journey.
God, I love that. So, there's loads to unpick already. So
yeah.
let's go back a step. So let's start with WhatsApp. And agree communication is really important. So what made you decide to go down that route of that communication and WhatsApp? And do you give people alternatives, if they prefer to pick up the phone, or do you find most people now it is about WhatsApp and it's a lot quicker and easier way to communicate? So we've just got a few technical issues. So hopefully Georgina will be back very soon, and then we can answer the question about WhatsApp and how that's working. Also like the fact that Georgina spoke about the bouquet of flowers on instructions. So again, what sort of thing are you doing on instruction? There you go, we're back again. So,
sorry, yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. It completely cut out.
Fine. I was just talking to myself and just sharing what I like with, it's normal. So what we were saying about, WhatsApp. So I like your communication, but also like the fact that you are talking about a bouquet of flowers on instruction. I think that's a really nice touch as well. And also, talking about the buyer's gifts on completion. So again, if anybody's watching, what are you doing? What do you give to your sellers on instruction? Be nice if you put in the comments. And also, what are you doing on completion as well? And what's your communication policy? So coming back, okay. So WhatsApp and communication. So how are you finding that?
I think it's really important, especially since lockdown. People they might have the flexibility of working from home, but during the working day, it's not always easy if they haven't got a very understanding boss to deal with, things that are nothing to do with work. They might not be contactable during the day. So it's all well and good being open on a Saturday, but actually a lot of the key questions that people have are actually outside of working hours, and a lot of people do work the same hours. So being available in the evenings it's a no-brainer for me, that I am available for them. I think it's different because being self-employed, I don't work the full office hours, so that's why I am reachable over more hours. If I was doing, if my office hours were sort of 9 till 6, would I still want to be work in the evening? Well, probably not. But it's giving the client the best level of service. So that's where I am able to offer that. Because obviously everybody's got to have a break at some point. I have 2 children, so I don't ever get a break. But if for people who also have children, they want to put their children to bed and have an actual conversation at a time when they can, we WhatsApp each other and I'll say, right, I'll give you a call in 20 minutes. And that could be at 9:30 at night. A lot of people are surprised if they want to book an evaluation with me, they're surprised that I will come back to them at the time when they actually ask for it, rather than having to wait until the next day to speak to somebody. And they really appreciate that. And it just shows how easy it is to communicate with me at all times, basically. At 11 o'clock at night, my phone goes on to do not disturb mode, though. So until 11 till 7, you can't reach me. And quite frankly, it can't be that urgent. You need to get hold of me at that time. So that's my... It really does work to communicate easily and quickly with people. So that's one of the key sort of points that we do at Avocado.
Okay, brilliant. So congratulations. I think you hit your first anniversary in January being there. So again, well done. So for me, starting a new journey, going self-employed, scary, exciting, wondering how I'm going to come up with instructions. So for people that are watching this, that are maybe thinking about taking the plunge, or actually people who are working in the industry, and are saying there's a shortage of properties at the moment, what advice can you give them as to how should they be going out there and winning new business?
So I think the key sort of thing is where I'm different, and a lot of the Avocado partners are different, is that we don't do things just to gain something from it. So when I do a business chat, I do a lot with women in business, and it's actually called lunchtime chats rather than lunchtime learning. So we've got the same sort of aligned sort of thinking there, in that people, when they're on their lunch break, they can tune in. If they're scrolling through their phone, they'll get a live notification, and more people are likely to watch it. So by doing that live lunchtime chat with people, you've then got yourself a super fan for a start anyway, because we get to know each other really well, and I'm happy to promote their business. They just naturally come back and say, do you know what? Do you know who's a really good estate agent? Georgina with Avocado. She's really nice. She's really friendly. She's down to earth. She's helped me. I'd love to sort of, and that is where I have a lot of my recommendations. So that's one thing of getting your local community to be friendly with them, because estate agents, let's be honest, they do have a bad name, and we want to change that, from being, I'm a mum working around my kids, and it works perfectly for me. So being able to just be open and honest, and people to see that is something completely different, and people are just, they'd rather deal with me than some kid in a suit who's never brought or sold a house. It's a different type of experience that we're able to offer in that respect. So that's one aspect of it. Being available obviously is a key selling point. We also use video and social media properly. So we do adverts in the proper way, rather than just asking people for evaluation. We make sure that we're putting out useful information for people. So it might be on top tips on how to stay.
So again, I think we've got problems with the internet, so my apologies. So Georgina was saying there about putting out useful content on the game, helping sellers. Again, very important. Just been discussing this, just doing a training session about the importance of video and social media. And again, would you prefer to be on the phone for an hour making 10 calls, or would you prefer to reach 10,000 people? So for me, video is really, really important, getting your message out there. And as well, I love that, obviously I'm doing lunchtime learnings, and I've been doing it now for, I think, over a year, maybe a couple of years. But that live lunchtime chats, having that live lunchtime chats with your community is another great way of getting in front of people. Just on that, Georgina, how do you choose which people in the community that you want to do the live lunchtime chat? And is it predominantly, you mentioned women, is it predominantly women you're doing the live chats with?
Yeah, personally it is, because obviously I'm a woman, but it's also about celebrating women in business. So because I'm a local business owner, that's where I wanted to support other women. I actually set up a Facebook group called Berkshire Business Beauties, and it's nothing to do with Avocado. It's somewhere where people can just share their businesses and ask for advice and support if they want to. So that group was sort of set up as a way to support each other. So a few of the ladies that I've never met before have come on. And there's been a few. So there's been one lady who was an interior designer, and she was focusing our chat on how to get the best out of selling your house and how to stage. And I think people found that really useful. Other ones, I've had an artist, I've had a mummy minder, which is somebody who does a postnatal doula. So it's all things that people, my target audience, are actually going to be interested in. Lots of people have kids needing to upsize and things. So there's method to the madness. But it could be any local business. It doesn't necessarily need to be to do with the industry that we're in. But they've proved very successful. And when the business person then shares the video, it's then reaching so many different people that you perhaps wouldn't have been able to reach before. So by giving up that sort of hour of my time, generally I will naturally get something back from it, whether it be a super fan or whether it be somebody that's going to recommend me, or actually evaluation out of it, which I've had a few times as well.
Brilliant. Absolutely love that. So I know before we got cut off, we were talking about video. You were talking about useful content. So what useful content are you putting out there? Which again, I love what you're doing because you're adding value. And for me, it is all about adding value. You being different to your competition. And you're doing that. So, and welcome, Mr. Macbeth. Thank you. Nice to see you on here. No pressure now, Georgina.
No pressure with Ian. No, I mean, Ian and Mike, their vision is just
that good. So again, apologies for the problems that we're having today. So let's just you're back again.
Sorry, I don't know what. I'm actually in the room where the Wi-Fi router is, so I'm not sure what the issue is. I do apologize.
It's all right. It's all right. It's normally me. So people are used to it. So you're absolutely fine. Okay. So yeah. So coming back with the content that you're picking, that you're sending out there, and you're adding value, and you're making a difference. Yeah, it's definitely the storm. Sorry.
Oh, is it going to get okay?
No.
So yeah, it's about giving people something for nothing is how I like to see it. You're giving them free advice. You're giving them an insight into something that estate agents don't normally give that information up. They like to use special jargon words that the average Joe buyer and seller doesn't really understand. So by breaking it down, speaking to people, I always say sellers rather than vendors. And a few years, it took me a long time to realize people don't want to be called vendors, because that's what people with a law degree call it. It's about calling them just sellers, because that's what they are. So it's also about giving them something that other people can't. So the latest mortgage rates, tips on how to stage your home again, and also a local market update. One that I've done recently was to walk around in my local patch, as it's called, and just literally walk down the street and just talk about how I'm finding the local market and give people tips. And that's been very well received, and shared multiple times. People tag in their friends who are obviously looking to sell, I don't know, but I don't go and then poach them. It's just their free information for people to just look and get value from, hopefully.
And how do you find doing it consistently? Because that's where a lot of agents struggle. You know, they come up with a great idea. Yeah, let's go and do a market report. They do it once and that's it, because they don't get the instant gratification or hits that they want. So consistency, my favorite C word, is really, really important. So how do you manage that consistency, and do you schedule it in your diary, particular days that you know that it's going to be done?
Yeah, so I have to say I did fall victim to not doing it consistently within my first year. And I think it was that I hadn't allocated the time out to do it. And then we had a little session with the Avocado group, and we did what we call a locked in diary. And we basically had everything across the whole week of where you spend your time, and the things that can't change. So first and foremost, it's everything to do with my Am I back? All right. So your sales progression, you've got your, allocated time to do viewings, whether there's a block on the weekend or, certain times in the evening. It's however you fit it in. And once a month, it's always there in my locked in diary. And moving forward, I allocate the time to film it and then edit it together. And then it goes out, within a couple of days. And then you've got it to use for the whole month. You can share it into Facebook groups. You can send it on to somebody that's booking evaluation with you, so they can see what you're about and the information that you're providing.
Okay, brilliant. So I know Ian, has just written Great Ladies in Business Lunch Chat with local business owners, which we've already discussed, which is obviously working very, very well for you. So again, some great ideas there to help. Anything else to help people on their journey to find, and also this is understanding it's for the long term. What you're doing is for the long term. Yes, it'd be great if you can get market appraisals, sales advice meetings, whatever you call them. Don't know, just valuations if you want, non-jargon, I suppose, because that's what the people think it is. It is a valuation that you're given. But anything else that agents can be doing to find sellers out there?
It depends what your ultimate goal is. Are you just doing a job to pay your bills, or do you want to progress in your career, up the ladder, or do you want to go self-employed and take that leap? If you're going down the self-employed route, you've got to be consistent. That special C word there. But you've also got to do something else. You can't just be the same as everybody else. You've got to do things differently and provide something better than your competitors. Quite frankly, I don't really feel like there is much competition, because I'm offering something that's very different in terms of the added video marketing and being contactable outside of hours. No other agent is doing that locally that I'm aware of at the moment. So it does set me apart. And I like to shout about that as much as I can without boasting and being cocky. It's about letting people know who I'm about and why they should come to me effectively. So for people that are wondering, they're sat in an employed role, should I make the leap of self-employed? It depends how far you want to go in your career. Do you want to, retire with a gold watch, having made probably almost millions for somebody else when you could actually be doing that yourself? It's a shift in mindset. I think that people sort of need to overcome if that's what they want to do.
Okay, so you touch on mindset. How do you develop a growth mindset then, or a dynamic mindset rather than this fixed mindset? Because at times I'm sure you're going to have challenges where you're wondering, oh my good God, you don't have good days, which is the same in life. Anyway. How do you deal with that mindset How do you overcome those hurdles, those objections that you may get day in, day out?
So yeah, it's easy to take it personally when somebody decides to list their property with somebody else. And in actual fact, the way I got through that almost mental block that I had after a couple of months of starting with Avocado, it was going really great at the start, and then I had a bit of a time when I lost. I don't like the word lost, but people chose to put their properties on with somebody else. The reason that they gave it was almost disheartening, because they said, "Oh, we absolutely love you, but we're going with somebody that's more established." And I think it was the brand hadn't quite developed enough. And obviously my job was to put, for them to put their trust in me, which, comes naturally with brand recognition, being out there, giving the advice that people want. So the mindset originally was sort of like, oh, how can I overcome this? And then you realize that it's not actually a personal thing, and you're not going to get on well with everybody. Not everyone's going to gel well with everybody. And when you're the sole contact from, valuation all the way through to completion, you've got to get on really well with them. If you've got a valuer sat in a living room and it's not actually going to be them that the person deals with, it's an easier choice almost, because they don't need to worry about building up a bond. Whereas what I'm offering is something different, because it is I'm the sole contact from start to finish. So it's actually more of a leap of faith to choose to use me than somebody that's, where you're going to be passed to different departments and it's a well-known brand. Because obviously the corporate side of things, they're successful for a reason. They do, like, obviously it's about volume, whereas for me, I don't want loads of houses on the market at one time, because I wouldn't be able to give the best service that I can give. So I literally take on a few at a time, and that's all. If I'm at capacity, then that's it. I don't take on any more. So that's the sort of difference in mindset, that you can't please everybody is where I sort of overcame that hurdle.
Okay. And what about you and self-development? What do you listen to? Any good books you've read recently? Any good podcasts? Obviously, apart from your lunchtime chats, which I'm now going to try.
There's a great group on Facebook which is called Women in Estate Agency, and it was set up by Claire Hughes and Liana. I'm trying to think of her surname. It's right there in my mind. But they set up the group. Sorry,
Liana Brown.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Both lovely people.
So including a recruitment consultant who's very well known as well, and different people that offer content for estate agents. There's all sorts of different trades, as it were, but we're all there to support each other. And actually, I actually had a valuation pass from a lady who's out of the area, but her partner lives within my area. So it just sort of goes to show the sort of networking really does work, and that's one thing that I've sort of kept at. To keep, my credibility open and aware for everybody is just a network, because the more contacts the more credibility you have in that respect.
Brilliant. Okay, well, look, we've had so many problems today.
Sorry.
I'm going to say thank you so much for your time. I think you've shared so much gold there for anybody, whether they're starting in agency, whether they want to go down the self-employed model. I love that live lunchtime chats that you're doing with your local community, which is great. I love the flowers that you're giving out in instructions. I love the community stuff that you're doing in your videos. For me, I can see Avocado and what Michael and Ian are doing is absolutely great. And you're right, it's about making a difference and adding value. And I can see that's exactly what you're doing. So I can hear your kids as well.
Sorry.
So I'm gonna let you go, but thank you so much for your time. I'm incredibly grateful. And you go and enjoy your half term.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wants to get hold of you and it's got a property to sell in Berkshire, how do they get hold of you?
So I could put a link to my page in the comments. and my phone number. I'll put it all in the comments for when it's shared. Okay.
Brilliant. Well, thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and the half
Thank
term.
you.
And nice
And
speaking
you.
to you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Bye.